Hey everybody, it's Trigger Bar Philosopher. Welcome back out to the channel. Today we got a great episode where we're going to be taking a look at the new M&P Performance Center Carry Comp, and we're going to be comparing it with the FN 510 Tactical. These are both 10mm handguns. Should be a good time. Let's get to shooting. All right, so today we are taking a look at the two offerings, one from FN and one from Smith & Wesson in 10mm, which is always the best millimeter, of course. So we're going to be taking a look at the 510 Tactical, which of course has the threaded barrel and all of that stuff. And one of the cool things about these is they come with the 22 round magazines. Yeah, that's pretty cool in 10mm. The Smith & Wesson comes with the standard 15, and that's what this normally flush fit magazines are for the FN 510, so they're very similar in capacity. Of course, this is a much longer barrel. I do believe you can get a shorter version of this now in a 4-inch variety, but as it stands with this one, this is definitely, when we're comparing apples to apples, this isn't a great comparison, but guess what? These are the guns that I own, that I paid for, that I went out and bought with my own money. So this is the comparison you're getting today. All right. For those of you who remained with the show, thank you for watching. We're going to see how these two guns compare when we shoot them side by side. We'll take a look maybe at muzzle flip. We'll take a look at accuracy. And that's about what we're going to compare with it. I'll have some discussions about reliability between these two guns as we're discussing and as we're shooting. I should go with saying that this now has a replaced recoil spring, a 20-pound Galloway recoil spring in it. This one now has a 24-pound, I can't remember, I think it's Springer Precision spring set that's in it. I've done that because I like to shoot hot ammunition in it, and I think that that's a good thing. I'm also using the plus 10% magazine springs in the Smith & Wesson. I've done nothing to change the springs in the FN. Now, historically, I have had issues with the M&P systems. These newer guns seem to be running better, although the last time we were out, I did have a problem with the magazine coming out. Didn't blow it out the bottom, but it definitely unlocked. Was it me that hit it? Was it whatever? I have no idea. So we're going to continue to test this. I've had issues with this. I could not get this gun to run 220 grain ammunition. It runs everything else beautifully and fine. In fact, you can watch those old videos. Ejection looks great. Then you go to the 220 grain and ejection looks terrible, and then we start getting failures. So both of these have had their issues with 220 grain ammunition. Well, guess what? I don't have any of that today, so we probably won't see those, but we're going to be testing it with some variety of ammunition out here on the channel today. Should be a good time. Let's get to shooting. First off, we're just going to get our bearings with these two guns. We've got 10 rounds of some Norma, 180 grain, supposed to be going 224 feet per second. Out of probably a 5-inch barrel. We're not going to get anywhere near that, so, but it's not bad stuff. So here we go. We're going to shoot about 10 rounds into the paper down range, and then we'll shoot about 10 rounds with the FN 510. We'll try to shoot a little bit for accuracy and see what we get with these. Okay, that's actually a really good group for me. Now we're going to shoot our FN 510. We'll see how it does. Boy, I am doing terrible. Terrible. I don't even know if I want to show that. Would that be dishonest? Let's see how bad it is. Let's go down and look. Okay, this is the M&P 10mm Carry Comp. Did I show it? Yeah, that's the FN 510. I did not shoot that well. We gotta redo this. That's flipping ridiculous. Okay, I gotta redeem myself on the FN 510. That was so bad. It's a very different recoil, and I haven't shot this gun for a while. The trigger is much lighter than the M&P. I definitely had one or two in there that I was not expecting to go off because it's not much creep, and then boom, it just goes. So it's a very nice trigger. I just have to be used to it. And then the recoil impulse is very different. It's not that it's worse, it's just different than the other one. Yeah, so just have to be on that. All right, that's a much more respectable 5. Let's see what we can do with this one. All right, let's go down and check it out. All right. This is our first 5 shots that we did with the FN 510. That's much better than this crap up there. This is our second shot we did with the Carry Comp. I mean, I feel like I'm definitely shooting the Carry Comp a little bit better, but those groups are very similar. There's one flyer out of here, there's one flyer out of here. There's really not that much difference other than this being a little bit better zeroed for that ammunition. Okay, well, let's keep going on with our testing. Okay, this next section is a little bit odd. I've been doing it in my videos for a little while now, but really I like to try and see if I can capture the muzzle flip. I know I can't. I know this is inaccurate. I know this is more of a feeling thing and a judgment thing instead of a scientific observation, but this is me trying to get as close to science with the tools that I have without spending thousands of dollars on extra tools. I know they are out there. I don't own them. I don't plan to get them. So we're going to use my slow motion camera, which can generate 400 frames per second. Look, I'm not spending tens of thousands of dollars on a high frame rate camera either. Shocker. So we're going to use that camera. We're going to use a little bit of slow motion videography to try and see if we can get some kind of measurement off of this and see if there's less felt recoil or less perceived recoil. I know that also depends on my grip, the ammunition we're using, all of those things, yada, 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 yada. So today we're just going to test some 200 grain Buffalo Bore FMJ. It's relatively hot stuff. We're going to put that in. First off, we'll test the FN 510 and then we will test the Smith & Wesson M&P. So here we go. Let me make sure I can see this sucker. All right, here we go. Now we're going to test the M&P. Get in the right spots here. All right. It's a very different recoil between those two guns. Yeah, it's just, you know, you can definitely feel that the one is a little bit quicker to recoil, and that's this one. That feels like it's quicker on it. This one's just a little bit slower, but I feel definitely I'm not getting as much muzzle rise, but the recoil on this is very pleasant and very nice to shoot. This is not a flippy, terrible shooting 10mm handgun, even with the hot stuff. It handles it very well and is a great gun to shoot. So, okay, first up we have the Carry Comp. We're just gonna look at the muzzle flip. We'll slow that down. Try to get a measurement off of that. It comes out about 32 degrees. Again, this is stout, spicy ammo, so we are getting a bit of recoil, but this is a short, snappy 4-inch gun. We compare it with the full-size FN 510, it's not that big of a difference. So the comp isn't doing that much, but then when you think about it, you're like, wait a second, a 4-inch gun is performing as good as a 4.71-inch gun, and maybe even slightly better. That comp is doing a pretty good job. But again, when I shoot them side by side, they feel like they have very similar muzzle flip. There's just no noticeable difference. Yeah, why don't we shoot just a little bit more, see if we can do one more test. We're gonna put some hotter ammunition in and we'll see what we can do. I may see if I can actually get a shot timer out, and we'll see what we can do in terms of like measuring how well I shoot under pressure, I guess. I don't know. I know I don't do it well. Okay, like I said, this is going to be a little bit of an odd take for me. I'm not some kind of professional shooter and all of that. So, but what we're going to do, again, trying to get a feel for these, I'm going to try to shoot 5 rounds as fast as I can. I have a shot timer here on the table. I will press. We will try to get to the low ready, and then we'll go on the beep. I have a IPSC style target downrange. We'll measure and see on the 5 shots how many we get in versus the other. So some kind of at least objective measurement from a mediocre to poor shooter. Here we go. And all right, I was a little slow on that. 2.96 from the low ready. That's terrible. First shot took me a 1.5 seconds. That's a draw stroke instead of a low ready stroke, but that's what it is. 2.96 was the overall. Splits was 0.33, 0.31, 0.42, 0.39, 0.33, and we'll just take a look at the target. So our target is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. One flying out of there. So that's actually pretty good for me. Okay, now we have our FN. We'll get the shot timer ready. We'll get into low ready. And here we go. Paused a little bit. I got more of my shots in, that's for sure. And we did a little bit faster, 2.62. First shot was 1.31, so that was the fast. It took me a while to find my dot on this. I don't know why I was so bad on that first one. And 0.31 was our first splits. 0.53, and that's where I stuttered just a second. 0.35, 0.3, 0.31. Yep, well, I don't know what we can tell. Let's go down and just take a look. I think I got all 5 shots in the middle. So in shooting it rapidly, I did a little bit better with the FN. I don't know which of them. I'm really sorry. This tells you what a poor YouTuber I am. But I didn't have any out of the target this time. This one was from the previous one. There's 4 shots from the previous one. There's 5 shots from the Smith & Wesson. 5 shots from the FN. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So that was pretty good. Could also be second time, me getting better, all that, yada, yada. Today we had the FN 510 Tactical and the Smith & Wesson M&P 2.0 Carry Comp version of 10mm handguns out today. And we did a little bit of testing side by side. We talked about pros and cons, talked about my history with both of these guns. I've had issues with both of them. The FN 510 doesn't like 220 grain, and that's the only time I've had a failure with this M&P Carry Comp version is when I had some 220 grain ammunition and I did lose the mag out the bottom. A little bit. Could have been me, could not have been. The 510, I definitely have evidence that I was having malfunctions with that 220 grain ammunition. I even replaced the recoil spring and it still didn't, I still had failures with it. So between these two handguns, running 200 grain or less, they have been very reliable when you don't go up in the grain weight. And look, I don't care about the 220 grain weight. I do it because I'm on YouTube and people ask me to. But between these two guns, I think they're both good. I don't think you're going to go wrong either way. There's a very different recoil impulse between the two of them. I kind of like having both, just being honest with you. If I'm going to be in a place where the bears or the outdoor animals are bigger, then I'm probably bringing the FN 510. If I'm going to be at a place where I want to conceal carry a 10mm, I'm probably going to bring the M&P. So that's my choice, and I think you got to know, which you want. Like, it's not, the question isn't like which hammer or which cordless drill are you going to get. It's like, do you want a screwdriver that's 4 inches or do you want a screwdriver that's 5 point whatever inches? You probably need both at various times, and both are better for one thing or the other. That's going to be my take on it. I think you can't go wrong with either of these. The FN have the issue where they had frame cracking. I haven't had that. Supposedly they fixed some of those. I didn't seem to have that issue. The M&P has had its history and trail of problems. I don't know. Put in the comments below, which of these two guns would you choose? Which do you like? Pretty hard for me. I'm happy that I own both. Hope everyone has a great week, and let's get to shooting.
From pistols to rifles, we'll take on the best. Reviewing each weapon, put them to the test. With revolvers and shotguns, we'll break it all down. The Second Amendment protects from the crown.